Good morning, it's Monday, August 24th, 2026. This is a kazoo, just so you know. When I put this on the bar top sometimes, the kids ask me, what kind of vape is that? I'm broadcasting to you from the future. I crossed into the central time zone yesterday, so I'm an hour ahead of folks on the East Coast. If anything goes bad, I will send a message back using the flux capacitor that I invented, and you'll have 1 hour to prevent disaster. I'll let you know if a data center gets built, for instance. So yesterday, I set a new record. I made 80 miles, starting in Brandenburg and getting to Tell City, which is in Indiana. Brandenburg's in Kentucky. This is actually the area just above here, really New Albany, Louisville, is where Lewis and Clark got their expedition sort of going. Actually, the reason Louisville is there is because there used to be the Falls of the Ohio. It was the biggest falls. So that was the first place that they kind of dammed and made it so you could go around. At first it was a portage, and then eventually you could go around it. So New Albany's on the Indiana side, and Louisville is on the Kentucky side. And then a lot of these different areas down here, like Brandenburg and such, Lewis and Clark actually recruited a few different people, like, Wheelmaker, a couple marksmen. Lewis and Clark's actually really cool. They only lost one person on their entire trip, and that was just because his appendix burst. So that's pretty cool, and they didn't really generally get in fights. They got along with everybody sort of along the way. They did have an air gun, which just shot, it was like a cannon that shot compressed air. It could shoot bullets, but they could just shoot the compressed air, and that was scary enough that some of the more warlike Native Americans would kind of cower down. So that kind of maybe about a century later, when Teddy Roosevelt said, tread lightly and carry a big stick, I feel like that's what Lewis and Clark did. Anyway, I made 80 miles, and that included an hour and a half delay at Cannelton Lock. Cannelton was a kind of cannel, I guess, was a kind of coal that was mined there. Anyway, I'm not the only person with tree problems, because a barge tried to go in, and they were tied side by side, which made them 118 feet wide, and a tree floated in at the same time, and they literally got jammed from 2:30 in the afternoon until 6:30. I was listening to the sort of radio traffic, and I think the pilot, who's the one who actually brought the boat into the lock, might be losing his job, because the captain had some vulgarities to say. They had to wake the captain up to get him out. And then I think I impressed the canal taker, or the lock tender, because he said, you can come down here, wreck vessel, but if you want to fight through all this drift. I said, yeah, I got to, man. And so I kind of had to meander my way through logs and stuff where it was lightest, and at some point just really kind of, get myself to go over. By the way, I ran over about 10 logs yesterday. It seems like the new normal is that I have about 4 inches of water in the bottom of the boat. I can clear it out, but then within a half an hour I have 4 inches again. But it doesn't seem to get any more than that. There was a 3-hour period yesterday where I couldn't even send a text message. I had like an SOS satellite thing on my phone. Absolutely no data. And that was really, really cool, because at first I was getting frustrated. And then I realized, what the heck, man, this is exactly what you wanted, was to be out here and have things go slow. You're not on a schedule. You don't have a Zoom meeting that you got to make, at 3:30. Just enjoy yourself. So I made a couple of philosophical videos that I'll put up later. Problem is, though, there's absolutely nothing in any of these. For like 100 miles, there has been nothing. And when there is something, a small town, because of all the flooding, all the docks are taken out. That includes New Troy that I just went past. I wanted to step foot in New Troy, but that's would have been impossible, because when there's no dock, there might still be a boat ramp, but it's made out of concrete. So at Tell City yesterday, I went past their boat ramp and kind of just went to stuff like this, and through an anchor in the muck. So I'm glad I had my mosquito netting, because they were coming out a lot. Because of the time zone, the sun now sets at 7:45 and rises at 5:45. So a tiny bit of adjustment, but that's not too much jet lag. It's a boat lag, I guess. So today I am going to go as many miles as possible. Try not to run over any logs. I'm a little worried about the leaks. Just if I hit more logs or ground out too much, you know, I'd hate to think that I have a hairline fracture along the bottom of the boat that would split it in half or something. I think at this point my goal, since there's really not too much to stop, and there's Evansville and there's Paducah and there's Owensboro, you know, I'll stop in those places maybe for supplies and maybe a quick lunch. But I think my goal is to get through the next 4 locks. There's only 4 remaining locks I have to go through, and then I will be almost at the Mississippi. I'm 222 miles away, and at that point I can really start to take some of these blue barrels and stuff that I'm finding along the way, and you know, tie them along the side as like saddlebags and extra buoyancy, just in case something happens, without having to worry about going through the locks and people saying, hey man, I don't think you can do what you're doing. Because people build rafts and stuff on the Mississippi. Abraham Lincoln did it. Tom Sawyer did it. A couple of kids that we met in 2007 in the Port of Albany did it. They were looking to hitchhike with us. We said, we're on a raft. They said, what the heck? We just got off a raft on the Mississippi. You can read about that in my book, Coming of Age on the Hudson, book 3. And, I got my one little burner thing going yesterday. Now I made myself hot coffee, which I threw some granola in for flavoring. And last night when I was waiting for the locks, I made this kind of concoction out of chili and ramen noodles and Velveeta shells and cheese. It's like a slop, you know, which is like AI slop, except you can eat it. So I'm gonna make some progress today, and I'll put up a few more videos as long as I have data. If not, I guess I'll just have to wait to put more videos up, but I will talk to you on Tuesday.